Hello, I am currently working on, it's so orange in here. I am currently working on an edit of my Overstimulated short film because it's gonna be screened at the Valencia Film Celebration, which I'm very excited about. And I went to give it a few tweaks before sending it off for them to screen it. So yeah, I thought I would make another video where I bring you along to the process of that, but I'll have a separate video up that shows the process of me being the production designer and costume designer for the celebration event, as well as the teaser and the trailer for it. But yeah, I thought I would do a separate one though on my film and how I'm preparing it to be shown at the event. Right now I'm editing it and giving it a few tweaks. I also made a poster for it. I made a really simple poster because I'm not a graphic designer and I was using Canva so that I could submit this on time. So it's gonna be simple. But yeah, I'll show you what the requirements are for me to submit it and my submission. The event is on March 1st. I don't know if I'll post this before or after the event, but if you stop by for the second block, that's when my film will be showing. And there'll also be a director's Q&A after, which I will be at. I'll show you the process of getting my film prepared to be shown at a film festival, I guess. I'm just using the camera's microphone for this because my phone's out of storage and the microphone I use connects to my phone. But I am changing this color again on the shot because it's just way too yellow for me. Yellow's already not my favorite color, so the fact that the walls over there are extremely yellow is very bothersome to me, and I already edited the color on it a lot when I first edited this video, but I'm making it cooler even more now and desaturating the yellow. So yeah, that's what I'm working on, mostly color grading it again so that it looks just less yellow, because I hate how yellow it looks. But I was filming inside a classroom and the light is yellow and so are the walls, so I couldn't really control the lighting as much as I would have liked. I could have actually, if I had planned this more in pre-production and figured it out that way, but I didn't. I honestly barely lit this short film, which is not the best because I learned a lot about lighting and I could have done a lot with it, but through working I learned more. And yeah, this is my first one using like professional film equipment, so I am going to forgive myself for the things I am not the proudest of. I don't want to edit it too much though because I do like the warm tone for the film. But yeah, I'm just here working on the hue and saturation curves on Final Cut Pro and putting the yellow down. That's pretty much all I'm doing. The other problem that I have to solve is the transition that I have in the short film. I had a meeting with my professor where we talked it over, and he gave me feedback on his thoughts on the film. And one of the things that he mentioned that he would have changed about it was the transition to black before I got into, I guess, the action part of this short film. And I agree with him that it's not the best transition for it, but again, I was doing this as an assignment and I had a deadline that I really needed to get to, and with the transitions the Final Cut Pro provided me with, that was the best transition I could find. But I'm gonna try to see if I can fix that or if I can find a better transition to transition from that short passage of time and for the mood in the short film to shift. So hopefully I can get that figured out tonight. Oh fuck. Okay, so this has been a pretty quick process. I finished fixing the color grading. I literally just changed probably 2 shots to make them less yellow. The rest were pretty fine. And then for the transition, I don't know. I feel like it's something I need to work on for the future. I need to download more transitions, and I also need to figure out as I watch films, like pay more attention to the transitions and see when they use what transitions, because that's something that I'm struggling with. I do a lot of cuts, like match cuts, I guess, but in general, transitions are not what I'm well versed in. So I just did a dissolve transition because that was one that's available to me right now that I don't have to go through hell to try and get downloaded for free. So yeah, I'm just making a note to myself that the dissolve looks better than the fade to black, and I know that a lot of films use the dissolve for things. I don't know, I guess it just feels weird to edit it on because it seems like such a YouTube thing to do. And the only other thing that I did was add a little bit more time in the very end when she takes a deep breath. I made that scene a little bit longer, a tiny bit, like probably 1 second longer, before I put the title screen. And I also added my 2 friends as production assistants in the credits because I had only put them as the extras when they were production assistants in as well. And I guess I just forgot to do that in the quickness of trying to submit this assignment. I'm gonna take a second now to rewatch the film and see if I'm happy with how it looks and finalize this so I can send it off. Okay, so I fixed the problem of the transition by straight up cutting a part of the shot because it was an awkward cut and it didn't make sense. So I just cut to a close-up and that made it better, and that was Tyler's idea.
Hey guys. Can they see me?
Yeah.
Can they see Izzy?
Yeah.
Hey guys.
Pros of having a videographer boyfriend.
And cute puppy.
He helped me figure out the cut problem. And cute puppy.
And a cute puppy.
For support. But yeah, that's all I did. And then the only other thing that I did was change how the credits look because they looked bad and stupid, so I just made them small and more professional looking.
Bad and stupid, dumb credits. Dumb, stupid, idiot credits. Made them better now. They're better.
And I also slightly changed the color of the background to like a very dark brown instead of just straight up black because it looked like too much of a change in color that I didn't like. That's all that I did. I will be back later to talk to you about other feedback that I got and to show you the process of actually sending it off and the other things that I have to upload onto the email and stuff. I'm back home now and I'm gonna finish the submission. So I'm gonna show you guys what they asked for me to submit, just so that you have an idea of what comes up when you're submitting for a film festival if you haven't done that before. So for this one, I had to submit a copy of my short film, of course. This one couldn't be more than 4K. You could do it by retransfer or by physical media. And then you have to send them the film title, the genre, the poster, director's name, notable crew, notable cast, logline or synopsis, and then any additional promotional materials. The only other thing that I wanted to mention in this video is the feedback that I got from my professor. I already told you guys about the transition and stuff. Another thing that he said is for me to make sure that I'm intentional with every cut, because I do a lot of fast cuts. That's just like my style of editing. So he said to make sure that I'm being intentional with every single one of them. So that was pretty good advice. And then he said that for some of my other shots, he didn't think that they were necessary to the story, but that he said that it was, of course, like my creative choice and it was subjective. But what he said for those scenes that I'm showing her in the hallway and I'm showing the other noises, it would have been nice for me to do like a close-up of the noise and also showing her reaction to them, because my whole point with that scene of her walking through the hallway was to show that when she has the headphones in, the sounds don't bother her. So he said since that was the direction I was going for, I could have made it more obvious by doing the close-up of the noise, but also showing her reaction to it, how basically it didn't affect her because she had the headphones in, just to make it more obvious so that the audience can understand what I mean by showing that. I think that's all the feedback I got. I did mention to him how my focus was a little bit off sometimes because that's something that I'm still working on, and it was like we did this project at the beginning of the program and stuff, so I hadn't really had a chance to practice as much as I'd like movie shots and stuff with the focus, and I feel like I'm already better at it now. And I've also learned way more using the monitor now to figure out the focus and stuff, which is great. But he said that that wasn't a big deal to him, and that he could see that I focused like maybe in front of her instead of on her sometimes. My mom is watching a funny movie. His feedback was really great, and I'm gonna definitely take that in as I do my next films and videography in general, to make sure that every shot is intentional, and if I'm trying to show something with the shot, to make sure that that comes across in the shot fully. But yeah, that was great feedback, and overall he really liked the film, and he said that I did a good job, which is very nice to hear from a professional. And I'm also really glad that a lot of people enjoyed the film. I think it's definitely my best so far, which is great because I'm growing with every project that I do, and my knowledge is growing and helping a lot whenever I do new projects, and each one of them is getting better as we go. So yeah, I'm excited to learn more and to continue doing this. I hope that you like this video. It's a very simple one, but I just wanted to show the process of me submitting my video for the film festival. I hope you have a lovely day, and if you haven't seen Overstimulated yet, it is on my YouTube. You won't be seeing a little bit bettered version of it because I posted that before when I was submitting it as my assignment as well. But I guess I've also learned in this process that it is nice to go back to your projects and adjust them and change the editing. I think it's definitely good that I finished them, because I feel like you could edit forever and never have a finished product, but I also think it's nice to go back to it and see how you can make it better as well. And this process of doing this specific film celebration and seeing how my classmates who also got picked for it were tweaking their films around and reshooting some scenes, and also just seeing people who are making bigger short films do pickup shots and stuff like that, it's teaching me that I can also do that to make my films better, and I can always go back to them and change it and make it better, even if like at the time that I first did them I didn't have the resources or the time to do it. So that's also very inspiring to me. Hi, I'm Malu, and I did Overstimulated.
So, same thing, they all said it's very different to see it on the big screen than when you're editing for hours on your computer. So this is great to see it with a group of people around. It really changes the environment. And it's great to see the difference as well, because I've learned a lot since I did Overstimulated. It was our first project. And I was able to sit down with Paul, my professor, and he was able to give me notes on it. So it was a very good learning experience. So it's great to see like the change from now and from then, and also to see like people's reaction to it as well. So my short film, before she gets overstimulated, as we get into that sequence, I had a spotlight up, and we were supposed to shut off the lights at a very specific time before she started getting overstimulated. And we had to do quite a few takes of that, which I'm sorry to my sister Mary, who was the main character, because it was very hard to get the exact timing, because the lights take a few seconds to actually shut off once you click the switch. So we had to do quite a few takes, and I was also changing lenses because I wanted to do one wide shot and then like have it get closer to her. That was my first vision for it. But that was the main thing. And then the other thing was when I was editing that overstimulation sequence, it was playing with it. Like I had to play around with it a lot to figure out how to get the audience to also feel the overstimulation of it. So I had like a specific version at first, but I didn't like it at all. So I had to like step back and take a break from the editing, and then I went back the next day and I was able to figure it out. So I'm glad I took that break, because then now it's way better than it was before. So for mine, I had this idea just pop into my brain randomly a few months ago. And then once we started the film program, I remember the first day Eric was up here and he said, like, we have an emotion short to do. And I was like, okay, I know exactly what I'm doing because I had already had this idea in my head. But most of my short films are at least somewhat based on my personal experiences. And overstimulation is something that I feel like a lot of people experience, and I do as well. Just like even here, like in the film program, sometimes like we have to step and take a second if we're all in the PO, like talking to each other and stuff. So yeah, this is a common thing. And I've already seen, like in a lot of movies as well, how they use sound in film. And I really wanted to get more into sound because I didn't know that much about it, and I really wanted to make something that had sound as a major part of it. And I remembered watching previous films that played with sound in that way. So as I was pre-planning for this short film, I watched the movie Juno, and there's a scene where they basically do the same thing that I did in Overstimulated. And after watching that, I was like, okay, that's perfect. I can use this as an example to show my crew what I had in my brain. So it just came together really nicely because I had the idea and I had a vision, but then I was able to find a perfect example to be able to communicate the vision.